I'd like now to invite to the podium John Ginascol. He is the Vice President of Supply Chain at Abbott Nutrition. John, would you please join us here on the stage? Welcome, John Ginascol.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. It's a beautiful facility, a beautiful building, a wonderful city, and I know it's an exciting day. But I'm going to ask you for the next few minutes to go with me on a journey, because we're going to leave this facility and we're going to go back to India, and we're going to talk about what's going on in India. If you think about it, there are 70 million Indian households that are currently producing small farms. These farms generally have about 2 to 3 cows. They have about 2 buffalo, a couple of goats. And in these farms, almost 50 to 70% of the income of those farms comes from dairy. Now, these farmers have a disadvantage. They struggle with quality. They struggle with the knowledge and the education of how to do things. And therefore, they don't get very good prices on their milk. And so it's this very repeating cycle. And it's a very, very troublesome problem. But there's a way to work through that, and we're going to talk about our story. So Abbott, as you know, is a global business. We have large nutrition, diagnostics devices, and branded generic pharmaceuticals, but in particular in nutrition. As I stood here and talked to you before, we committed 3 years ago to build large manufacturing assets in India to provide our nutritional products locally to the Indian population, and we did that. I then stood here in 2014 and committed to all of you that we were going to focus and source 80% of our raw ingredients, so dairy products, et cetera, locally. But I also acknowledge that's a challenge, because to get the right quality of ingredients, especially dairy products, is very, very challenging in this very fragmented dairy industry in India. So we took it upon ourselves, working with partners that I'll talk about in a moment, to go out, and we have been studying and working, and we developed over 5 milk sheds, a program to bring the farmers up and to bring the quality of milk up, and I'm going to talk about those results now. In these 5 sheds that we studied, we have built with our partners bulk milk chilling centers, because if you think about the problem, we have 2 steps. One, we have to get the farmers to actually understand the right way to farm the dairy herds and the buffalo herds to get the high quality milk from the animal, but then they have to have a place to store it until we can get it to the dairy converters, and they can process it into high-end ingredients that companies like Abbott and others would use. So these bulk chilling centers are centers that are strategically placed in key villages in these 5 regions of the milk sheds to be able to have the farmers bring their milk in. And basically, we have the 5 up and running, and after just 1 month, we've already done 50 training sessions at these centers. We've collected over 230,000 liters of high-quality milk. We've also reached out with our education programs, with our partners, to over 350 farmer households. And here's the best part. We have incented the farmers through pricing that as they hit quality standards that we expect out of a high-quality milk, they get paid a premium against the market price. So now it's an economic advantage and a motivation for these farmers to drive to focus on the improved quality of milk, because they benefit from a family standpoint. And since 50 to 70% of their revenue in that farm is from this is a big motivator. Also, what we have found is that the actual husbandry and caring of these animals is primarily done by women. And as we've heard Melinda Gates say before, and I'll paraphrase, if you want to improve the local community, invest in the women. And that's how you'll get the most rapid improvement. She's absolutely right. As we've done this training, we have focused heavily on the women that actually take care of the animals, and we have seen marked improvement in the quality of the milk that we see coming in. Now, we're not done yet, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge some of our partners. We've worked with one of the large dairy companies in India, Prabhat Dairies, which is a large cooperative. But in addition, we've gotten the on-the-ground support from an incredible organization known as TechnoServe, who has helped us and it has remarkable local knowledge on how to actually execute these types of programs and navigate all the challenges that you can imagine that we would have to navigate in putting these bulk chilling centers in, structuring the educational programs, actually helping to deliver the programs, et cetera. But when you partner with the right experts, you can clearly get results. Now, we're not done yet. I mentioned we have 5 up and running chilling centers. We have 5 more to go. Our intent is to start with 10, and once we get the 10 up and running, to evaluate how we then take this model and scale it even further. So that as we roll this program out, we're doing 2 things. Number one, we as a purchaser of that high quality milk are benefiting our business, so it becomes sustainably important to us to drive this program because we're getting a benefit with higher access to quality milk. The farmers and everyone in between are getting more access to be able to sell their goods. And they're getting a better price for their milk. And it becomes a sustainable economic model, which we believe will be our model in India and will also be applied elsewhere. Because clearly, it's about having a sustainable future and driving this. So, to summarize, I stood here several years ago and talked about ideas. I talked about things we were thinking about, big grandiose plans. Well, I'm here to tell you those plans are reality. You can go see the factory, you can go see these farmers, you can see the bulk milk chillers, and that's when you start getting results. And I encourage all of us that after we've discussed and after we've done the talking and we understand what we need to do, it is action that will actually lead us forward and help solve some of these problems. I look forward to working with all of you on this very important symposium. I thank you for your attention, and I hope you have a very, very informative day. Thank you.